Hello, my name's Rosemary and I work in Motherwell Library. You may have noticed this week that in the lead up to Valentine's Day, staff have been talking about books that they love as part of our book speed dating. It's my turn now, and I have picked a book, Where the Crawdads Sing. It's a book that I loved. Where the Crawdads Sing is a debut novel by American wildlife scientist Delia Owens. It was a massive bestseller there, and it's equally popular here. Why did I pick this book off the shelf to read? Well, I was already aware of it because she is very, very popular, but lots of books are very popular and I don't pick them off the shelf. Where the Crawdads Sings, the very title, it evoked a sense of time and place. I didn't know what the time and place would be, but I got the feeling that this book was going to take me somewhere else and talk about a life in place that I know nothing about. And right enough, it's set in North Carolina in the marshes. It's set in the 50s, 60s, quite some time ago. The story starts with a prologue from 1969 in which a young man has died and his body is found in the marshes. There are suspicious circumstances and has to be investigated. Then it moves to Kaya in the 50s, and she has been abandoned by her whole family, really. And she's left alone, really, to bring herself up in the marshes. That immediately makes you want to read further, because the instinct for most adults would be to want to know what happens to an abandoned child. Your sympathies are with them and you want to know their story. So these are both very good starting points. It's really quite uplifting to witness how she copes with life in the marshes. She's thrown onto her own resources and she has to survive, and she does in her way. Particularly sad for me was when her nearest in age and closest relationship sibling left. She understood why they were leaving. Their family life was very dysfunctional. The father, alcoholic. So she did understand, but she didn't understand why they didn't take her with her. She only did one day at school. The truancy officers found her in the marshes and took her to school. They'd gone looking for her. She was ridiculed by the other children, so she never went back. And generally speaking, there's a nasty undercurrent of the discrimination she suffered. If any other child so much as looked at her, tried to speak to her, their parents just pulled her back, pulled their child back. I was not at all surprised to find that the author was an American wildlife scientist, because the descriptions of nature are second to none. In a sense, this is about the love of nature as much as anything, and it's very, 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 very lush and absorbing. She's a girl who wants to be loved. The story has crime and romance. It has discrimination. It has survival, abandonment. It's got many, many major themes, and it's a very absorbing read. I think if you read it, you won't forget the characters. It's a book that would stay with you, and I highly recommend it to you. I hope, if you pick it, I hope that you enjoy it. Thank you for listening.